Brilliant clapping by Mr. Chris Virtue. Good afternoon and welcome to part number 3 of poeTart, Poet and Artist interviews here at Corridor, the 31st of March 2012. And joining me today on what is the comfy seats of the corridor upstairs here in King Street, Newtown. Indonesian artist Jumaadi. Welcome, Jumaadi. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine, Angela. Thank you.
I know we've got to keep remembering about these ice creams of microphones.
Yes.
Now, Jumaadi, you're a multidisciplinary artist. Not only do you paint, you are a poet yourself. You work with text. You perform. There's different ways in which you perform, and more recently has included some shadow puppetry. But how would you express and tell us about your work as artist?
That's a kind of big question, isn't it? My work as an artist?
Well, if we think about a lot of your work includes nature, landscape. There's elements of spiritualism. Is that important for you to include that? And is that something that you've drawn from your Indonesian roots?
Yeah, sometimes I just don't know, don't quite sort of plan what I'm doing, because I start with drawing in the morning. Let's say I get up in the morning, let's say like 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I just start drawing. And just draw and draw. But in the last few months, sort of sometime out of this practice, you also stop drawing and then you just paint. And then sometimes you stop paint and then you cut papers, you make shadow. But then when you travel, you can practice those habits.
Yeah,
So
the
routines that you have in your studio. And I don't have a huge studio anyway, so it's like a kitchen table type of place. Yeah, it was last summer. And yeah, when you take photo, even when you take photo, actually you don't really take the whole lighting. You take the photo of what your eyes capable to capture particular moment, particular light, particular shape, and particular object. And also when you write, you can't write the whole light and things. You can't write, you also write particular things. So this is how I, for example, like there is a note here. Baiklah, kita lupakan rindu. Gerimis tidak jatuh di denah, tapi kelabu mendung menggelayut di udara. dan langit tak terlihat, namun tetap ada. That was it's about the cloud on the sky that some kind of represent some kind of somehow emptiness and loneliness. But again, it's a personal reading to me. I might use it later on my painting or my other works. That cloud can represent loneliness. It's not always the fact that I use cloud to represent loneliness. It is an object or a shape that turn into iconography for my practice, which I can use as like a character. This character can represent night, but later again I use it as a represent sadness. Then in Leiden, I write sungai-sungai kecil yang mengitari Leiden dengan rumah-rumah perahu berhenti di tepiannya. Tepi-tepi kali, restoran-restoran terapung, dan jendela dengan boneka dan bunga-bunga anggun. Dari tengah kota ada nyanyian musik panas. Dan derap ratusan kaki naik turun melalui meninggalkan sunyi di senja yang abadi. Yeah, this is some note about the river and river boat in Leiden and the floating restaurant. And there is this doll house, or in the houses they have little windows. And in Holland they decorate their windows, so that when you walk around this small street, you can see people windows like small galleries everywhere, which is quite different our practice in Australia. You don't even look at people's houses, it's mostly big street. But Leiden is a small street, old street, so you can have a look around and little windows and with little dolls. And on that time, it's funny because everywhere you go, you could hear this bell from the church and sometimes singing. So this is like a backdrop sound. So even you ride your bike around the town, you could see it, you could hear it.
It provokes all of the senses.
Well, I don't know what for, but there's a material for me to work with.
It's fantastic to have a really beautiful insight into how your process as an artist is. And it sounds so beautifully rhythmic. I was captured. Jumaadi, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the poeTart file number 5 here at Corridor. And this is the media.
Thank you.